Hi students, welcome back to this tutorial. In this video, we can discuss about lossless joint decomposition. Okay, in our previous videos, we have discussed about normalization and various normalization procedures. So normalization is the process of minimizing redundancy and eliminating anomalies from a relation or from a set of given relations. So in this normalization procedure, in order to make a relation into a required normal form, we need to follow one principle, or we need to perform this decomposition procedure. Okay, so while performing such a decomposition over a given relation, we need to preserve two different decomposition properties like lossless joint decomposition and dependency preserving decomposition. These are the mandatory property that we want to follow while performing decomposition. Up to third normal form, both of these properties are mandatory. We need to preserve these two properties, lossless join and dependency preserving. So beyond that, and BCNF and all, we can't always preserve these dependencies. Okay, but we need to follow this lossless join decomposition. Okay, so in this video, we can discuss the properties of lossless joint decomposition. So first of all, understand what this lossless joint decomposition is. So consider a relation R which is given. After decomposing this R into R1 and R2, we want to check whether that decomposition is lossless joint or not. For that, we need to consider this condition. If R1 join R2 equal to R itself, then that decomposition is said to be lossless joint decomposition. Means we want to perform, after the decomposition, perform a join operation over this relation R1 and R2 and check the resultant relation after the join operation. If that resultant relation comes in match with the input relation R before decomposition. If this match exists there, then we can say that particular decomposition is lossless joint decomposition. Otherwise, it is lossy decomposition. Lossy decomposition. Okay. Lossy decomposition means after this join operation, we can decompose a relation R into R1 and R2, then perform a join operation over this R1 and R2. If the resultant relation after this join operation, if that resultant relation is a superset of our parent relation R, means there exist in that resultant relation certain spurious tuples. Spurious tuples means unwanted tuples. So that resultant relation become a superset of our relation R. Such a decomposition is said to be lossy decomposition. We have this type of decomposition, lossless joint decomposition. Okay, so now we can consider the condition we want to follow in order to make a decomposition into lossless joint decomposition next. We need to follow three different conditions while performing decomposition. Okay, so the first condition is this: attribute of R1 union attribute of R2 equal to attribute of R itself. The meaning of this expression is each of the attribute of R must be either in R1 or R2. Okay, so consider one relation R with three attributes A, B and C. And here we have a decomposition like this. In R1 we have A attribute only, and in R2 we have B only. So in this decomposition, in this R1 and R2, it is clear that this C attribute is not present anywhere in this R1 or R2. Means C of our parent relation R is missing here in this decomposition. Means this particular condition is not satisfied here. this condition is violated. So we can directly conclude that this particular decomposition into R1 and R2 is not a lossless joint decomposition. Okay, so this is the first condition that we want to satisfy. Each of the attributes of R must be present anywhere in R1 or R2 after decomposition. Right? The second condition is like this. Attribute of R1 intersection attribute of R2 not equal to null. Means there exists at least one attribute in common in this R1 and R2. After decomposition, at least one attribute must be in common in R1 and R2. Consider one relation with attributes A, B and C. So after decomposition, these are the relations R1 and R2 after decomposition. And here in R1 we have A and C. And in R2 we have B. So here the condition 1 is satisfied because the attributes A, B, C is present somewhere in this R1 and R2. Means A and C present in R1, B is present in R2. Condition 1 is satisfied. But this condition 2 is not satisfied here. Why? Because in this R1 and R2 there exists no attribute in common. Okay, what is the problem while violating this condition 2? So in order to understand that problem, we need to consider a join operation over this R1 and R2. While performing a join operation, so consider here we have no attribute in common. So the join operation is actually a Cartesian product over this R1 and R2. We can perform Cartesian product of R1 and R2. So the resultant relation is like this. A, B, C. A1, C1, B1, A1, C1, B2. Okay, A1, B1, C1, A1, B2, C1, A1, B2, C1. Next, A2, C2, B1. Here, A2, C2, B1. Then A2, C2, B2. A2, C2, B2. So this is the resultant relation after the join operation over this R1 and R2. Is this resultant relation comes in match with this input relation or no? Because here exist certain spurious tuples. What are they? These two are actually the tuples of relation R. Other two are the spurious or unwanted tuples here. These unwanted tuples arise here because here we have no attribute in common. That is why we need to satisfy condition 2 also. Okay. So consider the last condition, the third condition. After satisfying condition 1 and condition 2, we need to go check this condition 3 is satisfying or not. What is that? Attribute of R1 intersection attribute of R2 derives attribute of R1, or attribute of R1 intersection attribute of R2 derives attribute of R2. We need to satisfy either of these two conditions. What is the actual meaning of this expression? Means that one common attribute between R1 and R2 can derive attributes of R1 or R2. Means that common attribute must be a key or a candidate key of any of these relation R1 or R2. Okay, that common attribute between R1 and R2 must be a candidate key for any of these relation R1 or R2. Okay, so consider one relation. So after decomposition, this is R1 and R2. Here condition 1 is satisfied. A, B, C present somewhere in this R1 and R2. And B is present here as a common attribute between R1 and R2. Condition 2 also is satisfied. Now check this 3. That is whether this common attribute is a candidate key of either R1 or R2. We don't want to make this B as a candidate key for both R1 and R2. Okay, we need this common attribute as a candidate key of any of these. If this B become candidate key for both R1 and R2, this is also a valid case. Okay, so now check. So here using the value of B, here we have B1 and B2 as the value of B. Using this B values, B1 can derive, B1 is related with A1 and A2. B2 is related with A2. So what is the meaning? Using this B1 value which is directly related with A1 and A2. That means using this B1 we can't distinguish between these two tuples or these two rows. Means this B is not a candidate key for this relation anymore. Why? Because this B1 is related to two different A values, A1 and A2. So we can't distinguish between these two rows here. Means the entire B attribute is not a candidate key here. So not an issue now. We can check the same for R2 also. Here B1 is relating with C1 and C2 and B2 related to C2. Right. So this B1 is relating to C1 and C2 here. Means using this B1 we can't distinguish between these two rows. Right. So it is clear that B1 using this B we can't distinguish different rows of this relation R2. Means this B is not a candidate key of R1 or R2. Not a candidate key here and not a candidate key here. Means the condition of condition 3 is violated here. Right. So now check the join operation between these two. Here we have the common attribute B. Now perform a natural join operation between this R1 and R2. So the resultant relation is like this. So with respect to the values of B here in R1 and R2, perform a join operation. So the resultant relation is like this. A1 B1, here there exists a match between B values. So A1 B1 C1, A1 B1 C2. Then we don't want to consider this particular row because here value B2 and here value B1. There exists no match between B values. We don't want to consider that particular tuple. So consider next row A2 B1 C1 because B value is matching here. Then A2 B1 C2. A2 B1, these particular rows have no common B value. So we don't want to consider this tuple. Next A2 B2 C2. Right. So all these are the tuples come here in this resultant relation after natural join operation. Is this resultant relation comes in match with the given relation or no? Because only 3 of these are present in this relation R and the other 2 are spurious tuples here. These spurious tuples arrives here because of the violation of our third condition. Because this B value is not a candidate key for any of this relation R1 or R2. Okay, so consider all the 3 conditions together. Means in order to check whether a decomposition is lossless joint decomposition, first consider condition 1. If it is satisfied, now check condition 2 is satisfying or not. If it is satisfied again, go for condition 3. If it is again satisfied, we can conclude that the given decomposition is lossless joint decomposition. Okay, consider the same example relation R with the decomposition is like this. Okay, here condition 1 is satisfied. A, B and C is distributed here in R1 and R2 and exists a common attribute B in between R1 and R2. Condition 2 is also satisfied. Now we want to check whether the third condition is satisfying or no. So here in this relation R1, this B1 is relating with A1 only and B2 is relating with A2 only. Means using the B value we can distinguish different rows of this relation R1. That is, B is a candidate key of this relation R1. It is clear from this relation. Okay, that is enough for satisfying condition 3 because we want that particular common attribute be a candidate key for any of the relation R1 or R2. At least one of the relation R1 or R2. Okay, so here the condition is satisfied. Okay, we can consider this R2 also. So here in this, B1 is relating with C1 and C2 and B2 is relating with C2 only. So in this value B1, it is clear that using this value B1, we can't distinguish between these two rows. Because B1 is relating with this C1, B1 is relating with C2. Using this B1 value, we can't distinguish between these two rows. Means this B attribute is not a candidate key of this R2. But this is not an issue here because this B form a candidate key in this relation R1. That is enough. So condition 3 is satisfied here. Now we can just consider the natural join operation between these two. So the resultant relation is like this. A1 B1 C1 A1 B1 with C2. Here exists B field match. Then A2 B2 C2. So this is the resultant relation after the join operation. This relation is exactly same as our given relation R. Okay, so after satisfying the three different conditions, this decomposition become a lossless joint decomposition. Okay, so we have considered the three different conditions that we want to follow while performing decomposition in order to make a decomposition as lossless joint decomposition. Okay, so keep this conditions in your mind. In our next video, we can consider some more examples regarding this lossless joint decomposition. Okay, thank you.